Part 2 of this list, top 10 Mythbusters episodes. Here we go. Number 5 is Shark Week special. I like Shark Week. I can't deny it. And the Mythbusters had a few Shark Week specials, but this one is my favorite. You do 4 myths, 3 about attracting sharks and 1 about repelling them. Jamie and Adam do one about repelling sharks, and the myth is, can you find a shark's eye and poke it before it's too late? It's a pretty interesting one, and if you like watching build, this is a pretty cool build to watch. And I definitely was interested in it. It's like, yeah, that's an interesting myth, because let's say a shark suddenly grabs you. Do you really have time to strike it before your lunch? So it's pretty interesting build and a pretty interesting myth. The 3 that Carrie, Tori, and Grant do are about repelling, actually attracting sharks. And man, the 2 of them are kind of creepy and 1 of them is kind of funny. The first one they try out is from the USS Indianapolis that is mentioned in Jaws. This is, do you attract sharks by splashing around erratically or playing dead? If you play dead, will sharks not go to you and instead go to somebody else that is thrashing? This was in the report for the USS Indianapolis when their ship went down in shark-infested waters. So the way they tested it was pretty creepy, but thankfully Tori and Grant were able to get through it without getting bitten. So yeah, I was glad for that. But it was pretty interesting, to say the least. The one I thought was funny was, do dogs attract sharks? Now, to be honest, I've never really heard this myth, but it's kind of like, really? But anyways, when I watched it, the first thing they thought was, well, we can't use a real dog. And of course, Tori was like, why not? It's the easiest way to confirm this myth. Yeah, in my mind, I was like, yeah, you could just use a real dog. And they even mentioned it in a later episode when they recap some of their shark myths. And they said in that episode, we couldn't in good conscience allow a dog to get eaten on camera. I was like, yeah, you can't really do that. You cannot show a shark getting eaten on TV. You can't even show a shark getting eaten in the movies. Come on. So, yeah, I'm glad they didn't go with the real dog. And instead they made a robotic dog. And it was okay and kind of interesting. But the one that I thought was like really creepy, I was like, oh man, this is really good, but man, it's gotta suck to do it, was, do flashlights attract sharks? And so they went down to a sunken wreck in pitch blackness, thankfully put some lights up so that we, the audience, could see it in low level lighting. And one night they did it without any flashlights, and the next night they went back there with flashlights. And when they went back, and both times they did it, it was one of those things like, yeah, if you're afraid of the dark or sharks, this was not something you wanted to watch. But if you're into that sort of thing, then you like even scary movies, you can even watch it with the lights off. Yeah, that would be fun to watch. But 4 really good myths, and definitely worth my top 5. Number 4 on my list is 2 myths they do in this episode, and the title is Arrow Machine Gun. This was an historical myth, historical weaponry myth. Did Dionysus the Elder in ancient Greece build the first machine gun that fired arrows? Again, if you like builds, this is a really cool build to watch and see them try and make this thing a reality. If you like weaponry, again, cool myth. I thought it was pretty cool too, because I like seeing them build things. But the myth that goes along with this episode is probably one I like better. It's tipsy versus tired. Is it more dangerous to drive when you're completely exhausted and haven't slept for like a day, 24 to 30 hours, than it is after doing a few drinks? Now, there are people like me who don't drink, but sometimes we don't really get a lot of sleep. So it's one of those things that, yeah, you may not drink, but you could put yourself and a lot of other people in danger if you don't get proper rest. So really good myth, and I definitely recommend checking it out. It might make you think. Pretty cool, I thought. Number 3 on my list is the Pirate Special #1. They did 2 Pirate Specials. This one, my favorite of the 2, though, because of what they do in it. The myths they have are, can you rappel down a sail with a knife? Pretty interesting. And one of those things is like, yeah, you see in the movies a lot, but can you really do that? These are basically all movie myths, except for one, which is, in a cannonball fight, do deadly splinters kill more people than the actual cannonballs? And this is the first time they really got to use an actual cannon in a myth, courtesy of a Civil War cannon named Old Moses, which would be featured later on in other episodes. Pretty cool to watch. Also, what they did was, can you use rum as a stain remover? Kind of like, why would pirates even care, first of all? But maybe you're thinking, well, if you're on a date, if you're going to have short leave and you want to just get a wench or something, you want to not look completely like garbage. But then again, the smell might be worse. But anyways, the last one they did that I like the best is the eye patch. So they said, well, it's not really because you have one eye missing, it's for night vision. So if you go down into the depths of a boat that's in darkness, or you're in a night battle after looking at maps, can you switch from one eye to the other and have instant night vision? And the way they tested that was really cool. I enjoyed it. I thought it was probably the most scientific of these myths. And it was a lot of fun to watch. Number 2 on my list is the Alcatraz Special. Yeah, one of the earliest episodes of Mythbusters. Well, this is one that's pretty fun to watch. It's the myth that did 3 inmates break out of Alcatraz using a raft made out of raincoats. Again, kind of historical myth. If you like builds, this is pretty cool to watch. Them actually make this raft out of raincoats. It was pretty cool, and not to mention, it made you think, like, wow, could they have actually gone off the island? In my opinion, I think they made it. That's my opinion. But check it out. Also in this episode, one myth that I was like, that's okay, but it's more for people who like watching conspiracy theorists, get their comeuppance, I guess, is do RFIDs, radio frequency identification, are they implanted in people when you go and donate blood? So yeah, basically, does the Red Cross or people who draw blood, are they implanting people with RFIDs? It's a crazy conspiracy theory, but it's one of the things I like about the Mythbusters. They'll take on conspiracy theories. But the other one I liked, which got a really good laugh out of me, was, does a duck's quack echo? The myth is it doesn't. And it's pretty funny that they take such a simple concept and they really put everything they have into it to try and test, yeah, does a duck's quack echo? Also, with this one, has one of the funniest lines I've seen in Mythbusters. It rivals, am I missing an eyebrow? And that's Jamie trying to get the duck to quack, and he's going, quack, damn you! Yeah, I think that makes me laugh every time. But it's still not as good as my number 1 Mythbusters episode, which is the viewer special number 2. This is the thing I like most about Mythbusters, is that they will always be willing to take fan suggestions, whether it's new myths or myths that they've done before, but maybe take a different tangent, or maybe even something they did wrong, and retest it. I always like that about Mythbusters, and I really appreciate it. This was actually one of the first episodes I ever watched of the Mythbusters, and it got me into the show. I was like, yeah, this is pretty cool. And it's a really diverse set of myths in this one. One is an historical myth, which is, why did our ancient ancestors make flint arrowheads? Are they more useful than just sharpening sticks. And the way they test it, pretty cool, pretty straightforward, and Adam dresses up and it's pretty funny. Also, they do 2 myths from a different vantage point. They do a baseball myth of, does eye black actually help with keeping the sun out of your eyes? And the other one they checked out, which I'll talk about later, because it's probably my favorite one of the 4. But Tori, Carey, and Grant do two myths. One is a different tangent on blue jeans. Can you take your blue jeans, put them on a stalled ski line, and basically zip line your way down? The other one they did, which is, can you topple a tree with a machine gun? It sounds ridiculous, but the fans asked it and they received it. It's pretty fun to watch them try and take down a tree with a machine gun and use the Tommy gun, a sub-automatic weapon, the saw, and they tried the Dillon minigun, the Gatling gun. So yeah, they definitely put what they have into trying to fell down a tree. And the favorite one on this one is a revisit of Trailblazers, which was a previous episode about fire and explosives. And in this one, they did a classic cartoon myth. And this is one thing I really like about Mythbusters. They'll even take stuff from cartoons and try and discover, yeah, could this really happen in reality? And this is the one where it's a classic. Guy's holding a barrel of gunpowder and it has a hole in it, or has a leak in it, and it's dripping black powder. Can you strike a match, throw it on the ground, and just watch it go toward the person who's holding the barrel, travel up the black powder into the barrel, and blow it up? It sounds ridiculous, but the Mythbusters are willing to check it out. It's like, yeah, is there some times where cartoon physics actually enter reality? It's pretty fun, and I liked it. This was probably the episode that got me to really watch the Mythbusters on a regular basis. So yeah, that's my top 10. So what is your favorite Mythbusters episode? What were the myths that they tackled? And don't tell me whether or not they're confirmed or busted or plausible. Just tell me which ones you like the most. So that's all I got. I got something special planned for March. And until then, my fandom of Mythbusters is definitely confirmed.